Let's look at a passage at the end of Sonny's Blues, a passage that contains the narrator's epiphany. Remember, the epiphany is what makes a character a round character, that there's some kind of change going on in that character during the course of the story. And Sonny's brother, the narrator, never understood Sonny. He hears Sonny play in the jazz club, and Sonny is playing, as I noted earlier, in the style of Charlie Parker. It's kind of an innovative, interesting kind of jazz for the time. And as Sonny solos, the narrator has this epiphany. And the passage starts, "Freedom," which is the key word here, "lurked around us, and I understood at last that he could help us to be free if we would listen, and he would never be free until we did." And that sentence contains the heart of the story, and in a way it contains the heart of the civil rights movement of the 1950s and 60s. This story is set 2 years after Brown versus the Board of Education was ruled on in the Supreme Court, and it's the beginning of the civil rights movement. Freedom meant equal rights. Freedom meant equal treatment in society. And the story is, in a sense, a dialogue between the two brothers. Sonny helps his brother be free as he plays the jazz solo, because his brother listened, in the words of the story. And he notices that Sonny would never be free until we did listen. So in a sense, they are both liberated in that one jazz performance. Yet there was no battle in his face now, the narrator continues. I heard what he had gone through and would continue to go through until he came to rest in the earth. He had made it his, that long line of which we knew only Mama and Daddy, and he was giving it back, as everything must be given back, so that passing through death it can live forever. So we can see here that Baldwin is not just talking about the experiences of the two brothers, Mama and Daddy, and the immediate family. And notice the only one who has a real name is the daughter who died. The rest of them are family names. He's talking about the experiences of the African American community. So we move here from a realistic story to one based on metaphor and, in some senses, even a kind of mythological structure. So Sonny, in his music, Sonny in the solo that he plays, understands his connection to the totality of African American experience, and that's the sentence that's in bold there. And he was giving it back, as everything must be given back, so that passing through death it can live forever. So there's kind of a transcendental experience going on here. It's much bigger than the characters, and it involves the entire community. And as he realizes that, as he has that recognition or epiphany, he recollects sensory detail. I saw my mother's face again and felt for the first time how the stones of the road she had walked on must have bruised her feet. I saw the moonlit road where my father's brother died. Okay, so he's connected not only to Sonny and his immediate family, but to his entire extended family and his ancestors, and as such, the whole the tradition of their experience, the continuum of their experience. And he then recollects the death of his child, and it brought something else back to me and carried me past it. I saw my little girl again and felt Isabel's tears again, and I felt my own tears begin to rise. So he connects not only to the pain and suffering of his ancestors, of his immediate family, but to his own pain and suffering and sorrow at the death of his child. And yet I was aware that this was only a moment, that the world waited outside, as hungry as a tiger, and that trouble stretched above us longer than the sky. So this is the beginning of the civil rights movement. He has an awareness that this is not going to be easy, that there's going to be lots of trouble in the future. And yet the awareness begins here. The awareness is born in this passage.